The will was already read, or so I'd been told. I stood in the echoing silence of the foyer, the grand old house that had been our sanctuary, now feeling like a tomb. Dust motes danced in the slivers of sunlight that pierced through the drawn curtains, illuminating a desolation that went far beyond the absence of our parents. It was the absence of us, of the life we'd built here, that hit me like a physical blow. He got it all. David. My brother. He'd played me like a cheap fiddle, from the moment I'd agreed to come back and help him sort through Mom and Dad's affairs. He claimed it was just a formality, a way to honor their wishes. Turns out, his wishes were the only ones that mattered. Our parents, bless their naive, trusting hearts, had always believed in the sanctity of family. They'd raised us, David and me, in this sprawling Victorian on Elm Street, a place overflowing with the scent of Mom's baking and the rumble of Dad's laughter. We were a solid unit, or so I thought. David was 2 years older, always the planner, the one who seemed to have a clearer path. I was the dreamer, the artist, the one who floated through life with less ambition, more feeling. Mom always said I had the bigger heart, Dad that I just needed to find my footing. They loved us both fiercely, unconditionally. Or so I believed. They'd worked their whole lives to build a comfortable future for us, a legacy. Dad, a successful architect, had poured his soul into this house, every detail a testament to his vision. Mom, a renowned botanist, had filled the gardens with a riot of color and life. Their combined estate, substantial by any measure, was meant to be divided equally, a safety net for both of us, a way to ensure we continued their legacy of security and comfort. When Dad passed away peacefully in his sleep on October 12, 2022, the grief was a suffocating blanket. Mom followed 6 months later, on April 2, 2023, her spirit broken without her lifelong partner. I was adrift, lost in the enormity of my loss. David, ever the stoic one, seemed to handle it with a chilling efficiency. He'd called me, his voice strained but steady, explaining that he was taking care of everything, the funeral arrangements, the estate. He insisted I stay put, focus on my own healing. I, in my fragile state, readily agreed. He even suggested a lawyer, a Mr. Abernathy, a man who handled their personal affairs for years. He's the best, David had assured me. He'll make sure everything is handled according to Mom and Dad's wishes. The words now tasted like ash. The first inkling of something being wrong, a tiny tremor beneath the surface of my grief, came a few weeks after Mom's funeral. David called, his tone casual, almost dismissive. Just wanted to let you know the estate has been finalized, Liam. Abernathy handled it all. You'll be pleased to know everything is distributed. Distributed. The word felt hollow. I asked for details, for the paperwork. He'd brushed it off. Oh, it's all online now, Liam. Abernathy sent you a secure link, didn't he? You just need to log in and review it. He'd sounded so confident, so matter-of-fact, that I'd almost believed him. Almost. I never received any link. I called Abernathy's office. The receptionist, a sweet-faced woman named Brenda, informed me, with a hesitant politeness that screamed of instruction, that Mr. Abernathy was no longer handling their family's affairs. He'd been replaced by a new firm, a Mr. Sterling. A knot of unease tightened in my stomach. I pushed. I called David again, my voice sharper this time. He'd finally caved, a reluctant confession of sorts. Liam, look, it's complicated. The will, it wasn't exactly as you remember. There were some amendments made. Amendments? Made when? By whom? He'd stammered something about Mom being unwell in her final months, about Dad being overwhelmed. He claimed they'd wanted him to handle things, to manage the assets and distribute them as he saw fit. He said it was for my own good, to protect me from making rash decisions. My own good? By stealing my inheritance? The sheer audacity of it, cloaked in a veneer of familial concern, was breathtaking. I demanded to see the original will, the amendments, anything. He promised to send copies. He never did. Then came the final, crushing blow. I visited Elm Street, ostensibly to collect some of Mom's gardening tools. The house was eerily quiet. David wasn't there, but Brenda, the receptionist from Abernathy's old office, was. She'd been a friend of Mom's. Seeing me, her face crumpled with a mixture of pity and fear. She confessed, under the weight of my pleading eyes, that she'd been pressured. Pressured by David to remove certain documents from Abernathy's vault, documents she'd felt uncomfortable with but had been too afraid to refuse. She'd seen David with the original will, and then with papers that looked suspiciously like power of attorney, all before Mom passed. She'd even seen him practicing Mom's signature. The confirmation, the concrete evidence of his treachery, landed like a seismic shockwave. My brother, the boy I'd shared bunk beds with, the confidant of my childhood secrets, had orchestrated this monstrous deception. He hadn't just taken our parents' money, he'd stolen their final wishes, their legacy, their memory. The house, the very walls that held our shared history, felt tainted. The breaking point wasn't a single moment, but a slow, agonizing realization that clawed its way through my stunned disbelief. It was the image of David, smiling that insincere smile, as he talked about distributing our inheritance. It was Brenda's tear-streaked face, her whispered confession of complicity. It was the chilling emptiness of the house, a monument to his greed. I spent days in a fog of anger and despair. I replayed every conversation, every interaction, searching for clues I'd missed, for signs of his predatory nature. He'd always been ambitious, but this was beyond anything I could have imagined. He'd seen Mom and Dad's love for him as a weakness, an opportunity. The sheer malice of it, the calculated cruelty, fueled a cold fire within me. I realized then that I couldn't let this stand. My parents deserved better. I deserved better. I contacted a private investigator, a gruff but sharp woman named Maria. I laid out the story, the suspicion, Brenda's confession. She listened intently, her eyes sharp and assessing. Her investigation was swift and brutal. She discovered David had indeed forged both Mom and Dad's signatures on a revised will, executed just weeks before Mom's passing, leaving him the sole beneficiary of their entire estate, estimated at over $3 million. He'd also leveraged their assets, taking out loans against the properties and liquidating significant investments. He was living a life of luxury, a life funded by the very people who had loved him unconditionally. Maria's evidence was irrefutable. Forensic analysis of the signatures, witness statements from former employees of Abernathy's who had seen David making inquiries about estate manipulation, and financial records detailing the rapid transfer of funds. Armed with Maria's report, I confronted David. Not in the sterile confines of a courtroom, but in the place he had desecrated the most, the family home. He'd invited me over, probably to gloat, to show me the extent of his victory. The house was furnished with expensive, soulless pieces that screamed new money, a stark contrast to the warm, lived-in comfort my parents had cultivated. He offered me a drink, a smug smirk playing on his lips. I refused. I placed Maria's report on the polished mahogany table, the same table where we'd eaten countless family dinners. The silence that followed was deafening. His smirk faltered. He picked up the report, his eyes scanning the pages, his face draining of color. The bravado evaporated, replaced by a raw, animalistic fear. He denied it at first, sputtering, blustering. But the evidence was damning. He finally broke, the carefully constructed facade crumbling. Tears, not of remorse, but of pure, unadulterated panic, streamed down his face. He confessed everything, the desperation, the greed, the warped justification that he deserved it more. The outcome wasn't a dramatic courtroom showdown as I'd once imagined. It was a quiet, cathartic justice. With the evidence in hand, we bypassed a protracted legal battle. David, facing imminent criminal charges for fraud and forgery, agreed to a settlement. He surrendered all assets, the house included, and was ordered to repay every cent he had stolen, with substantial interest. The legal fees alone would cripple him for years. He was also barred from any future involvement with my parents' estate, a final severing of ties from the legacy he had so ruthlessly betrayed. He moved away, a shadow of his former self, a pariah in his own right. I received a significant portion of the money back, enough to ensure my financial security and to begin the slow process of rebuilding. The house, thankfully, was returned to me. It's still the same house, but it's different. The echoes are still there, but now they're no longer tinged with the darkness of betrayal. Standing in the foyer again, sunlight now streaming through clean windows, the house felt like a sanctuary once more. The dust was gone, replaced by the scent of lemon polish and the faint, lingering fragrance of Mom's lavender. It wasn't just about the money, though that was a welcome reprieve. It was about reclaiming what was ours, about honoring my parents' memory, about proving that love, even when twisted by greed, couldn't completely extinguish the truth. The scar of David's betrayal will always be there, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk even within family. But looking around this house, the house my parents built and loved, I felt a profound sense of peace. Justice, in its quiet, determined way, had prevailed. And in reclaiming this space, I felt I had finally found my footing, just as Dad had always hoped.